Let me share this one because it needs a combo. It needs some views. Needs to be shared with everybody, really. But let me share this. And peace, love, prosperity, protection, people. Y'all let me know if y'all can hear me or not, because I don't really know. But I can't see who's coming in because I'm taking the time to invite some people, which I don't normally do. So, peace, 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 family. When I say peace, it's a term of me sharing peace with you, sending peace, love, and prosperity and protection to you guys, to you, your ancestors, your loved ones, to those connected to you. I'm a little bit tired of inviting people at this point. So, I'm about to get ready to start talking. Okay, peace, y'all. Peace, love, prosperity, and protection. How are y'all today, tonight? I hate that Facebook is not telling me who y'all are. I see 8 people in the room. Peace. Oh, peace and love, Tisha. Peace and love. I just want to talk to y'all about this downloads, or a few downloads that I've been getting for the last few days. I want to talk to y'all about our ancestors. I want to talk to you about your ancestors. I want to talk to you about our lineage. I want to talk to you about our culture. I want to talk to you about knowing yourself. Peace and love, Tish. I can see you. Peace and love, Anna, Mia. But like I said, I want to talk to you about you. Peace and love, Connie. Share the video if you can. Like I said, as many people as possible need to be able to see this video. The message is going to be specifically speaking to African American people, because those are the people who are my people. This, of course, everybody will be able to get a message from, because the downloads are downloads. But the message and the importance of what I need to say needs to be heard by African American people. With that being said, peace and love, Lindsay. With that being said, I'm going to just jump right off into, the very topic of most of my downloads for the last few days. And that topic has been not only myself, or yourself generally, but also your ancestors, your veneration and respect and adoration of your ancestors, the relationships that you are creating or not creating, or I'll say neglecting with your ancestors, with your own lineage, with your own heritage. Okay. So one thing that came up for me was there is a book that I was suggested to read. And I can't even remember the name of the book right now because clearly it's not important. However, basically, there was something in the book that triggered me to a download. And that download basically was, what if us as African American people, okay, what if we are bound as a people, not individually, okay? Follow me here. What if we are bound to struggle, to pain, to poverty due to our disregard of our own lineage? There are so many of us out here, and I understand that we've been disconnected from our ancestors. We've been disconnected from our lineage. We've been stolen from here, there, and everywhere. Some of us are indigenous people of this land. However, we've been disconnected from who our elders are and who our ancestors are in a physical sense. However, our ancestors, clearly we already know, are around us daily and with us all the time. So what if we literally are going through the things that we're going through and the struggles that we are because we have decided to disregard, overlook, and underappreciate our own lineage, to underappreciate our own heritage, to disregard and, kind of belittle our own culture. Okay, let me bring this down. Let me bring this to a more clear understanding. Okay, for example, every religious structure, every culture of people have their own heritage, their own lineage, their own heritage. They have structures in these systems of their religious or spiritual beliefs. For example, you have Jewish people who have, their whole way of doing things in their culture. You have African people who have different tribes, and their different tribes have different structures for their different cultures and their different heritage based on their lineage. Peace and love, Sadie. You have Asian people who have their own structures of spiritual belief in their different, like I said, lineage and culture based on their heritage. Okay. Our ancestors as African Americans, and I mean African Americans being the descendants of the people who were stolen from wherever they were stolen from, or disconnected from wherever we was disconnected from. Because again, some of us are indigenous people to America. Some of your ancestors is from right here. They ain't came from nowhere else. However, some of us did come from somewhere else. So the lineage and the culture of us as African American people and the tradition that our ancestors came up with was hoodoo. And let me break this down to you, because a lot of people don't know what the hell hoodoo is. And y'all assume that hoodoo got something to do with voodoo, which is completely incorrect. Okay, so the cultivation of our heritage and our lineage and the information, the root work that our ancestors was trying to hold on to so tightly, while these people were stripping them of their identities and trying to make sure that they didn't know who they were, in the production of what they were able to retain during the times that they were being stripped of who they were, it's called hoodoo. Okay, these are the traditions and the natural, what y'all call root work, and the root workings. And that's why the white peoples and the slave owners always sent out to the shed to get a witch doctor who was practicing roots, because our ancestors knew the fuck they was talking about. So this same stuff that we do right now, as in lighting candles and putting up altars and sweeping the floor with salt, and having superstitions about your feet being swept, having different things that to do with shoes, having reasons why you don't let people track into your house with certain things, having a connection that we have to nature. All of that stuff is called root work, and that is hoodoo. That is the tradition and the heritage and the lineage of African American people, not of African people, not of Asian people, not of Indian people, none of those people. This is the cultivation of our own heritage that our ancestors were able to hold on to while they were being stripped of who they are. And one thing that I can notice as an observer, okay, is that there has never been as much recognition of Black people in my life. Like right now, you got, they want to include Black people here. They want to diversify here. They want to put us in this place. They want to put us in the ass. They got skin shit to include us and all this type of shit. And none of that stuff was ever prevalent in my whole 28 years of life. This has been the most recognition that Black people have gotten. However, what I can also put with that is there has never been as many ancestral, venerating, culture chasing, consciously aware, self-mastery pushing ass Black people in my life. So I don't believe in coincidences. So are you telling me that you believe that the uprising of Black recognition in this specific country is not also due to the ancestral veneration and the acknowledgement of our roots that has come into, I guess we would call, trend lately? You can't tell me that those two things don't go together. The more we try to connect, or the more that we do connect to ourselves and to our ancestors and to that culture that we have spent so much time disregarding, the more we are becoming blessed. We've been distracted for 400 plus years. We're not disregarding. We've been suppressed, stripped, deprived, etc. We're in the time of awakening to go back to our roots and heritage. Exactly, Perry. But what I'm saying is that the more we go back to that, the more blessings and the more on top and the more growth and the more succession that we're experiencing. So what if, again, A consequence of ignoring that for so long, and a consequence of being stripped of that for so long, was being bound to the poverty and struggle that we experience. We literally, as a people, as Black people, have the highest amount of spending power in this country, but our dollar doesn't circulate in our community, not one damn time. And we're looking at other structures, like I said, Jewish people, Asian people, white people. Everybody is supporting their own community, and that dollar is circulating, honey, before I go out. But all of those people follow their own heritage, don't they? Peace and love, Bree. Peace and love, Rebecca. All of those people follow their own heritage. All of those people venerate their own ancestors. All of those people are put their spiritual practice and the practices of their heritage and their culture at the forefront. There's no disregard. They haven't been disconnected from that. So I know that a lot of them are not working back to that, but we are. And the more we work back to it, the better our lives have been improving. So my thing is like I said, it's very important to me for as many African American people as possible to see this, because I know a lot of us, and especially with our ancestors and our grandparents and our parents and shit, I understand that a lot of generations were not forced into Christianity. And that's what I mean when I say that we've been disregarding it. Because some of our dead ass ancestors definitely was forced into the choices of what belief changes that were made in their lives. Because again, they were stripped of their identities, and we're disregarding their identities. That's the difference. They were stripped by force of what they knew about themselves, what tools that they had with ancestral veneration, what importance they shown on their workings with the roots and with the plants and with the herbs and their connection to nature. They were stripped of that by force, but we don't have that saying, no matter how oppressed we have been, period, at least for the last 3 generations back. Okay. We'll go all the way back to my great grandma. No matter how oppressed that we have been, at least going back into that 3 generations ago, we ain't been oppressed. We have been choosing to ignore who we are, what we know, what works for us, ignoring our ancestors, telling ourselves that we can speak to Jesus as a ancestor, technically, because he lived here and he died. So you telling me that I can speak to Jesus, but you telling me that you can't speak to your ancestors and give them the same respect and at least, acknowledgement, because nobody's asking you to be out here talking to dead people. If that's not your thing, then that's just not your thing. However, your disacknowledgement of your ancestors is a neglect. It's a disregard. Okay? It's a disregard. And then to say, we have so many people out here who are still currently neglecting, because again, this is choice. We have a choice at this point. We're in the age of information. So there's nothing being hidden from us. You can't hide shit from me in a book. I know how to read, sis. I know how to work the computer. I'm more advanced in most areas than everybody else on the planet. So at this point, you can't be, yes, we're oppressed in certain areas in certain ways, but you can't continuously say that, the reason that we're not such and such is because we are oppressed. There are literally hoodoo practitioners out here. There are literally those of us who talk about this and speak about ancestral veneration every day. There are those of us who are out here fake spiritualizing, trying to follow along with the trend, which is cool because trends turn into real things. Peace and love, Judy. Trends turn into real things. So I'll take it. You know what I'm saying? I'll take that it's trending. However, there are fake spiritualists out here sitting at they fake altars, and they're making altars even though they may not have done it right. They're trying. You know what I'm saying? They sitting at the altars and they asking their ancestors for shit all day, every day. Can you protect me? Can you send me this? Can you help me here? But these same people haven't even decided they were going to feed their ancestors. I asked a question on my Facebook earlier today about how many people actually fed their ancestors a plate of food yesterday. Y'all know what Halloween is. Y'all know what All Hallows Eve is. Y'all know what Dia de los Muertos is. But you're telling me that you don't know what All Saints Day is. You see how that's a blatant disregard of your own culture, because you can know what Dia de los Muertos is, the Day of the Dead, for Spanish people, Hispanic heritage. But you're telling me that you haven't looked into what All Saints Day is, which is our own Day of the Dead. That's our own day for our ancestors. That's our own day for ancestral veneration and spending time with your family. And the reason why you feel like you need to clean up your goddamn house right now. I know it's a lot of y'all who don't know anything about what I'm talking about who have been cleaning up y'all cribs for the last 2 weeks. Cleaning, physically cleaning, making space, all of that. These are things that you're being moved to do because you're in alignment with who you are. This is heritage. This is lineage. The reason why we do certain things is based in our ancestry. It's not coincidence. There's no such thing as a coincidence. You do exactly what your ancestors did. If, for example, when our ancestors came knocking on the door of our grandparents and they asked, you know what I'm saying, they was telling them that your purpose is this, this, and this, and I need you to break, you know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, we're going to go into generational curses because a lot of y'all think generational curses got to do with money and all type of shit like that. Let me tell you something. This is a generational curse. Let me tell you why it's a generational curse. Because when our ancestors came knocking on our great grandparents' door, telling them, hey, I need you to bring our family back to tradition. I need you to heal yourself so that our kids don't have to heal from, or so that your kids and their kids don't have to continue the cycle that we're in. When they came and knocked on our great grandparents' door and told them your purpose is to put us back in the space that we're supposed to be spiritually, and our ancestors and our grandparents ignored them. Them niggas came to the next generation and they knocked on our parents' door, and our parents ain't want to goddamn do the work, and so they ignored them. And so they came to us and they knocking on our door, and now we're doing the work. And so now here I am, I'm doing the work. And my mama and my daddy definitely ignored them. When they knocked on my mom and daddy door, they ignored them. When they knocked on my grandma's door, she goddamn sure ignored them. Okay? Ignored them. However, my uncle, I feel like that my uncle, my mom's brother, is my outlet to spirituality. He is the spark for me because he is at the crib. Well, he's in prison. He's in prison from prison. My uncle is in prison and been in prison all my life, and he's like me. He's like a spiritual teacher for them inside of there. He do exactly what I do, just in there. My uncle is the one who taught me Swahili. He been teaching it to them in there. He do exactly what I do. So when they knocked on his door, he didn't skip out on the lesson. He's doing the work. But again, it wasn't enough because that didn't, it did not pass down through every generation. He definitely got my cousins, me, my brothers, everybody. We all, you know what I'm saying, have a different outlook on life and different level of spirituality than our parents have. However, my ancestors came back and knocked on my door because it's a part of my generational task to bring my family back into heritage and into tradition. I have to show my daughter and make sure that she understands that she has a heritage of her own. She doesn't have to go out and try to be the Africans and follow Ifa because Orisha it has a structured system. I understand that they have a structured system, but everybody is not from Nigeria. Everybody is not connected to the Orisha. That's why y'all getting ignored and y'all also getting punished and played with because y'all playing with entities in Orisha and Ashe that is not yours. It is not yours. The reason why y'all sitting out here looking like imposters is because you trying to embody somebody else's Ashe. You trying to embody some other lineage's Ashe. You want to study asana in India and you want to, I'm talking about asanas. You want to study asanas in India. You want to follow the Orishas and you only know Oshun and y'all done made Oshun a goddamn sex goddess and she ain't even a sex goddess. Like y'all are degrading other people's cultures while ignoring your own. And you wonder why you're not succeeding and nothing's moving for you in the way that you think that it should. Because you're ignoring your own, disregarding your own culture. Your culture as an African American is hoodoo culture. Hoodoo tradition is what, like I said, what it was the emergence of the information that our ancestors were able to hold on to while their identities were being stripped from them. Do you know how much of a slap in the fucking face it is to your ancestors that they was holding on to this information so tightly, okay, that they were able to create a whole new tradition? You know what I'm saying? Even though that tradition is mixed into what we've experienced on this soil and in this life, it may also have some pieces and bits and pieces from, whatever tribe or culture that they were stolen from and disconnected from. But what they created with what they were able to retain is hoodoo. And so as an African American person, meaning that your lineage was interrupted at some point and you were brought your ass over here and you was disconnected from whatever your, whatever your original culture was. You were disconnected. You were misplaced. That's a part of your fucking lineage. It's a part of your bloodline. It literally happened to you, which makes you African American. And so because now you're African American, what our ancestors did to retain our heritage was create hoodoo, and you're ignoring it. You're ignoring it because you don't want to say, hey, I'm hoodoo, but you also don't want nobody to sweep your feet. You don't want nobody to tell you that you hoodoo, but you also baptize yourself. Y'all getting baptized, bro. Do you know that that's something from our culture? Y'all is getting cleansed with water. But you don't want nobody to call you hoodoo. You lighting candles at your altar. You feel what I'm saying? You cooking soul food and putting it on the goddamn ancestral altar. You cooking the things that they like. Listen, soul food was created by African Americans. Soul food was created, slave food. Slave food is a product of slaves. It's a product of our lineage, of people who were disconnected from their culture and made their own out of whatever scraps that they gave us. They gave us scraps and our ancestors made pig feet. They gave us scraps and our ancestors made chitterlings. I don't like none of that shit. However, they made it taste good and y'all like it. That is a part of hoodoo tradition. Just like like a part of voodoo tradition is like Cajun food. You know what I'm saying? African people have their own traditional food. Asian people have their own traditional food. Jewish people even have their own traditional food. And they're Jewish, not Jews. African Americans have their own food. Our culture has its own food. Our culture has its own music. Our culture has its own rhythm. Why are we ignoring these things, trying to be someone else? Why y'all trying to be somebody else? Peace and love, Jari. Peace and love, Carl Walk. Peace and love, Marcus, Jay, Janelle, Rochelle, Aaron. Why are you trying to be somebody else? Share this video, bro, because again, like I said, I need this video to reach as many African American people as possible. Imagine being not necessarily punished, but bound to certain punishments because you're ignoring your heritage. Like I said, what if we as a people, like we literally as an entire people, or on the bottom of the financial totem pole, and technically on the bottom of the totem pole, if, we go in by the perceptions of anybody else in the world, because they have structure, they have, finances in order, they have all of these things that are working for them. But again, what is the common denominator for all these other cultures is that their spirituality is at the forefront of who they are and how they operate. Jewish people hire Jewish people. Jewish people have bar mitzvahs. They have rites of passages and initiations and things like that. And they follow all of those things all their lives, regardless. That spirituality and what they believe is at the forefronts of their lives. Asian people, whatever it is, whatever their Asian culture is, that shit is at the forefronts of their lives. African people, Nigerian people, especially with Ifa, because I know y'all act like y'all don't know nobody else, Lord. So we're going to just use Ifa as the one African thing, even though they have so many varieties of cultures and so many varieties. You know what I'm saying? Haitian people have loas. They have their own structures and their own cultures and their own heritage that they follow, and they don't try to be anybody else. That's why they succeed in life. That's why they continuously move forward as an entire people, not as an individual person. Their spirituality is at the forefront, and not only is it at the forefront, their ancestral veneration in their lineage, in doing what their ancestors have taught them to do and have shown them is important to the way that they live and to their culture, is what they do. And so they succeed. And so what if, again, let me bring this question up again. What if we are bound to struggle in poverty, in disorganization, because we ignore and we choose to disregard and overlook our own culture? Like, that's really something to think about. As these downloads came in for me, some of the things that I have experienced on my journey to self-mastery while I'm out here doing this by myself, you know what I'm saying, is a frustration that I don't have that. I don't have hoodoo elders. I don't have, some type of rites of passage and some type of initiation where I know at this age is appropriate for me to do this. And at this age, I should be moving into this. And there should be, I should be moving into priest level, hoodoo tradition. That we don't have that structure. The reason that we don't have that structure is because y'all disregarding it like it don't matter. Like it ain't nothing. Like it's some fake ass shit that somebody made up yesterday. Like, no, this is our culture. This is the culture of African American people. This is the culture of the people who have been disconnected from the people we were before. Yes, I understand the longing for, trying to find out who the fuck your ancestors was before that disconnection happened. But what about all of the people in your lineage that were after the disconnection happened? You gonna disregard them? Because that's who you really are a part of. You're a part of the people who came after disruption. Yeah, you were part of all them super ancient niggas too. You know what I'm saying? If you got Atlantean ancestry, if you got Kemetic ancestry, if you got Yoruba ancestry, if you got Haitian ancestry, yeah, them your people. But that don't disregard the fact that you came into this space and your ancestors are the people who came after the disruption happened. And you're disregarding them. You calling their names every day, but you disregarding them. And this shit been around long before what they holding on to. And that's my point. Hoodoo tradition has been along a very long time. Like a very, very, very long time. Just because you can't remember what your native tongue was, don't mean that you don't remember that you need to get up and go out into the sun every day. It don't mean that you don't have the connection to the animals and to the trees and to the plants that we usually have. It doesn't mean that you didn't know that herbal medicine was better than chemical medicine. All of these things are in alignment with your soul. They don't just go away. It's because of your lineage. Your lineage as an African American. To utilize what you have. That is our culture. Do you know that hoodoo is built off of using what you have? We don't have that whole, for example, you can like Google stuff like this. Like when you Google stuff like, hey, how do I write a petition to whoever, whatever God, you feel me? When you Google that shit may tell you, this specific deity likes X, Y, and Z. And the best thing for you to do is use parchment paper for the best results. No, hoodoo works like you use what the fuck you got. So if you got a paper and pencil at the house, that's what you use for your petition. And it's going to work because we utilize what we got. Like I said, soul food came from making things good that they gave us as scraps. Them people wasn't giving us good food. They was giving our ancestors scraps. Our ancestors just made that shit taste good. We didn't have all of the resources that we needed to make medicine. So we went out in the yard and in the forest and we foraged. We foraged. Forage means that you went out and you got the sticks and leaves and plants and shit that was out there in your vicinity and you made some medicine out of that. That's what hoodoo is. That's what you are. And as long as we continuously disregard that culture and we keep kicking that shit to the side like it's unimportant, we will continuously not strive as a people. We're not going to strive. Like I said, we have gotten the most recognition as black people have ever gotten. I swear to God, in the last 2-3 years. Like I said, they want to include us in everything. They want to make the right skin facts. They want to make the right type of makeup for our skin tone. They want to make sure dark skinned girls are included here. They want to make sure, stretch marks and big booties are appreciated here. They want to make sure braids are appreciated. They want to make it seem like they give a fuck about us. But the thing is, the only reason that we getting this recognition not because they wanted to give it to us because they appreciate us and because they respect us and shit. It's because a lot more of us are doing our ancestral veneration. A lot more of us are giving acknowledgement where acknowledgement needs to be. A lot more of us are giving practice and putting energy where the energy needs to be going. It's clear. Like the proof is in the pudding. The more of us that become awakened and start to chase our culture, the more we start to thrive. So how much more evidence do you need of what your acknowledgement of self can do for you? Like, when you really think about it, how many rich black Christian people do you know? And I mean Christian people who are not corrupt. How many black pastors are there who are not corrupt, because that's the key word, who are not corrupt, do you know, that are out there? How many black pastors are using all the money that they got in their super mega churches to bring other black people to success levels? But there are plenty of examples of people who have been doing their ancestral veneration and practicing their hoodoo on their own, and, you know, acknowledging and respecting and sending love and energy to their ancestors who are being blessed. I don't know if y'all know who Orisha Oshun is, but I swear to God, y'all, I've watched this girl on my Facebook timeline for a few years now. She's a millionaire. Millionaire now. Her and her husband and her 4 black ass kids, they black as hell. Black. Ancestral veneration. Alkaline vegan. Surviving vegan soul food guide. That woman, she is a millionaire now. I have watched my favorite astrologer, Kateria Knowles, manifest all of the things that she's been talking about manifesting. I'm looking at Queen Afua with a worldwide network of womb healing, practicing ancestral and teaching ancestral veneration, bringing more women, more people to the space that they need to be in to heal themselves, to acknowledge themselves, to get to know themselves, to practice the respect and regard of their ancestors. As long as you continue to deny yourself, your blessings and your connection and your purpose will be denied. Because you're denying yourself. If you can't accept yourself, how you expect somebody else to accept you? The world don't accept you because you don't accept you. The world didn't start accepting us until we start becoming spiritual, because now all of a sudden everybody likes spiritual aesthetics. Everybody like the aesthetics of being spiritual. They like what we look like. They don't necessarily like the work, because I don't know too many people who actually want to do the work, but they want to look like they spiritual though. Them people only want to, spirituality is trending because spiritual people accept themselves. Most of us, at least. You know what I'm saying? We accept ourselves. We accept ourselves. All of the flaws, all of the whatever the fuck y'all call them. I don't call them flaws because I don't find nothing flawed about it. You know what I'm saying? But however, we accept ourselves. I accept that I don't need somebody else's God to pray to. I accept that I'm not a Nigerian who has an Ifa structure. I accept that I'm not a Kemite and who has Kemetic structure. I accept that I'm not Haitian and I don't have Haitian Loas to call on. I accept that I don't have no goddamn elders to call. I accept that. But you know who the fuck I'm going to call? The ancestors that I do know. I'm not going to disregard them just because it ain't no structure. I'm not going to act like it's not as important as Jewish structure. I'm not going to act like my ancestors are not as important as Asian structure. I'm not going to act like the tradition that my ancestors created out of nothing is nothing. We free as a bitch out here, like Jonita said. We free. I'm free. I'm living free as a bitch. All of the, like, y'all literally out here. I had this conversation with somebody either earlier today or like yesterday or something. I think, matter of fact, I had this conversation with my twin today, and we was talking about kind of like that zombie apocalypse thing, because it's funny to me how so many people think that the damn zombie apocalypse is going to consist of like these undead, like corpse type of things or something. You know what I'm saying? And so twin was like, you know, they said that the zombie apocalypse, look at what a zombie is. A zombie is supposed to be something that is dead, but also alive. So technically, y'all niggas is the zombies. Y'all dead inside. You living. You know what I'm saying? You a living being. But y'all dead inside. Y'all are the zombies. The zombie apocalypse is happening right now. Y'all walking around this bitch with masks on y'all face in fresh, clean ass air. Doing exactly whatever the fuck they tell you to do. Don't that sound like a zombie apocalypse to you? You have to... That self-acceptance is not only going to take you into a deeper level of self-love and a deeper level of connection with God, it's also going to break you free from the restraints that are on your mentality, from the, illusion that your mental state is in. Like, really, yesterday was All Saints Day, for real. Yesterday was our Dia de los Muertos. The Dia de los Muertos is the Day of the Dead for African Americans. Yesterday was the day that we were supposed to be spending, respecting and giving reverence to, and, speaking with, letting our ancestors know, like, hey, I love you and shit. Sending out forgiveness and, love to our lost ones, to our living ones. Yesterday was that day for us, and nobody knew. I saw one person post on my timeline about it. And when I asked earlier, like I said, how many people fed y'all ancestors yesterday? Nobody even answered. I had a few people answer. Just a few. You see what I'm saying? If I start asking y'all ancestors who want a free reading, everybody will jump on my live. Everybody want to talk to their ancestors, but y'all ain't feeding them. How are you asking people to feed you? You sitting at your damn altar every day asking for money, asking for a new job, asking for protection from this, and this. Can they help your mentality here? Can you help me with my healing? Blah, blah, blah. But you niggas don't want to feed the people that you expecting to feed you. Listen, when I feed my ancestors, first of all, I'm going to eat regardless because I take care of them. But when I feed them, they feed me back. What y'all don't understand about that? Everybody want to sit a white candle at their damn ancestral altar or sit a white candle and a glass of water. Okay, they thirsty. They felt your warmth and your energy from your white candle. But how often do you feed them? They starving? You telling me they starving and you asking for shit? You asking them to feed you while they starving? Peace and love, Janelle. You see how that don't work? That don't go. That don't go, y'all. That don't go. As long as you disregard yourself and you disregard your culture and you disregard your heritage, you're going to be disregarded. You counting them out and they counting you out. You know what is that? I don't remember what that, I don't know if it's a Negro spiritual or a proverb or whatever, but I know when I used to be in church, they used to be like, I want to be in that number. You know what I mean? Y'all know what I mean by that, especially African American niggas. They be like, I want to be in that number. You telling me you think you finna be in the number while you starving your ancestors? You're not in the number, bro. You're the reason why you wasn't in that number. It's because you was disregarding them. You're not finna be in that number. You're not in that number. No, you wasn't. You keep seeing people, that even people that y'all feel like y'all were superior than, surpassing you. Their businesses just started last year and we already didn't thrive past whatever the fuck your idea was. You was working in a corporate ass job thinking that you had a better job than everybody else, and we just said fuck it, quit our jobs and started our own business, and we thriving, honey. And you out here like, I've been working so hard all this time. I don't understand why I keep being overlooked, why I keep being left out. Because what the fuck are you doing to show reverence to show respect and regard to your own culture, your own heritage? What are you doing? It's so many of y'all who want to be. I'm only using the Ifa tradition because it's so many of y'all, abusing their culture. All of you niggas is not Nigerian. All of you niggas is not from Benin. And listen, the funny thing about it is, voodoo is the national religion of Benin. So, like, you know what I'm saying? It's so many levels. It's so many levels of this stuff that you could be studying and finding out about yourself. But y'all get to one thing or whatever is popular and you attach to it. And at this point, like I said, y'all are abusing these people's orishas. And abusing their culture. Because it's not religion for them. It's a way of life. It's their entire culture and heritage. These people grow up like that. And all of a sudden, everybody out here, oh, my Orisha this and my Orisha. No. What the fuck did your ancestors say? Because if your ancestors ain't told you to go find no goddamn Orisha, then you need to leave them people the fuck alone. You have to acknowledge and accept yourself for who you are in this life. In this life, you reincarnated as an African American. That means that you reincarnated as someone who was also African American. Respect these people. Respect my people. Respect your people. Acknowledge them. Acknowledge them. Acknowledge them. Say their fucking names. Y'all have the fucking nerve to be out here with all these t-shirts of every person who has been slain by the police and y'all screaming, say their name. Say the fucking name of your grandma. Say her name. Say your great grandma name, bro. Say your granddaddy name, your drunk uncle, your daddy. Say their names. What is wrong with y'all? I can't understand the respect and reverence that you have for everything disconnected from you. Where's your respect and reverence for the motherfuckers who are directly in your bloodline? Where is it? It's disrespectful. The reason, listen, I was just saying I had a beautiful Akashic reading before I got on live with y'all. It was so beautiful. And one thing I was saying to her is, we got these we got these attitudes from our ancestors, right? So I remember saying, I was having like a moment with myself maybe a week or so ago, and I just remember saying like a few times, like, no, my baby, that's what happened. My baby kept coming in the room, interrupting me, bro, and she kept talking to me, and she said the same shit to me about 3 times in a row, right? And so what the thing was for me is that I had to stop and said to her, hey, Anala, I hear you. I heard you the first 3 times you said that to me. I answered you 2 times, and you didn't hear me because your focus was elsewhere, right? Listen. What came full circle for me with that was my ancestors be looking at my stupid ass just like that, talking to me like I'm my child. As y'all heard your dumb ass ask me that shit 4 times. I answered you. That's what they be saying. And the reason that my attitude is what it is because my ancestors' attitudes is what theirs is. I don't expect them to be no different than me because where the fuck I got this from? I got it from them. So if my attitude towards my child asking me the same stupid ass question 3 times because she think I'm ignoring her, and it's not that I was ignoring her. It's just that she didn't hear me because her focus was somewhere else. So if I said that to my child, what do you think that my ancestors are sitting up there saying to me? Asia, I heard you. I answered you 4 times, but you wasn't listening because your focus was somewhere else. If your focus is on everybody else's culture and everybody else's ancestors, when the fuck did you get the message from your own? They not ignoring you. You ignoring them. And as long as you ignore them, they gonna keep on disregarding your ass and passing your ass over. Acknowledge your own culture. Feed your goddamn ancestors. That's the thing. Feed them food, nigga. Listen, my plate, let me show you, because I know some people have this like thing about maybe wondering or being, worrying about if bugs or it's gonna track gnats or whatever. Y'all, this plate of food been on my goddamn altar since yesterday or the day before. That food been on my altar all this time, y'all. That shit ain't or track nothing. The damn cat ain't even touch it. She ain't even walk near it. They don't nothing bothers the stuff on my ancestral altar. That motherfucking water on there it goes down by itself because they be drinking it. But that water sits there. Don't no bugs, no gnats, I don't have none of that shit in my house. That food been sitting there untouched. I mean, untouched by physical presence. You feel me? But as soon as I put that motherfucking food on my altar, all my downloads started. I mean, they started yesterday morning, but when I put that food on my altar, I started getting an overflow and an abundance of more. That's why I had so much to say today on my Facebook. Because they got shit they want me to say, and they got shit that they need y'all to hear, and I couldn't get it, and I wasn't hearing it clearly because they ass was hungry. They was hungry. So I fed them, and now they're feeding me. I'm full, nigga. I'm overflowing. Even the baby know. Everybody, listen, nobody ain't touched that shit. Nobody ain't touched that food at that motherfucking altar. It don't ever get touched. You know what I'm saying? And after, like I said, a week or so, I put that food out for something in nature to eat it. It never goes to waste. Don't ever feel like you wasting y'all food. You throw away more leftovers than you would waste. You throw away more leftovers than you would waste trying to feed your ancestors. It's this goddamn retrograde fucking with me now. And now it's trying to tell me that my connection keeps talking about it's reconnecting. So I got lots more to say, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually start putting this stuff on my Patreon. I'm going to make a post about All Saints Day and about ancestral veneration and feeding your ancestors on my Hoodoo Patreon. So if you don't know about that, we generally just do not know and you need some more information, check out my Patreon. All of the information will be there. I'm going to save this live so y'all can hear it again if you need to. But let me tell you again, what if you are bound? What if you, Black people, African American, what if you are bound to struggle in poverty and pain because you're disregarding and overlooking your ancestors? The culture that they worked and fought so hard to hold on to while the fucking identities of themselves was being stripped away from them and replaced with whatever the fuck them white people wanted them to be. You're disregarding that same knowledge they fought to hold on to make sure that they had to pass down to us. Y'all disregarding that, disregarding it and overlooking it. And so in turn, you're being disregarded and overlooked. Please think about that. Think about that tonight. And talk to your ancestors. Shit. Stop disregarding them. Ask God about it. I'm telling you, you ask God, you have that conversation with God so he could tell you also. Or her, so he or she could tell you also. Stop disregarding your own goddamn culture. Trying to be everybody else but your damn self. All right? I love y'all. Peace.